All right, welcome back to Lake Clan Legends. Again, we tried to record a video this week and it did not go so well. So we are doing some interviews with our infamous cast members. So we already did Logan and Michael, and now we have Todd.
Hey everybody, how are you?
So, Todd, how did you get into Dungeons and Dragons?
Well, that's kind of a long story, but I'm going to make the short part of it. Wow, just because I'm old doesn't mean anything. So I actually got into Dungeons and Dragons in the 1900s, which I know for a lot of you is like thousands of years ago.
The early 1900s?
No, not the early 1900s. Okay. I'm not that old.
Okay.
But I did
mid 1900s?
Mid 1990s. How about
that? Okay, that's better.
Actually, early 1990s.
Ooh, wow.
A friend of mine and my cousin were setting up a D&D game. He's like, oh, why don't you just make up some characters and give it a try? And, you know, that was Advanced Dungeons and Dragons 2nd edition.
Second edition?
Second edition, yes, 2nd edition.
My goodness. And what are we at now?
Fifth edition.
Reworked,
yeah. So,
was it carved into stone tablets?
No, but you could probably put your character sheets in stone tablets.
Okay.
And you needed an abacus and an engineering degree in order to figure out all the rules that were involved in 2nd edition.
Okay.
But yeah, so that's where I got my start. Played a lot in 3rd edition. Really enjoyed 3rd edition. And then when 3.5 came out, that was like the heyday of D&D. I mean, that was like the best that we ever got.
Are you getting the old back in the day?
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's a lot of stuff that we played, and the rules certainly changed a lot over the years. I did not play 4th edition at all.
Why not?
Because we were kind of stuck on 3.5 was such a good edition, and then when we read about all the changes that came for 4th edition, and we just decided not to, and then the band kind of broke up and we went all our different ways. And then a couple of years ago, the boys showed a little bit of interest in D&D, and I started to try 3.5 with them, and they were a little bit confused. But once we got some 5th edition books, we were in better shape.
So, do you like 5th edition more than 3.5?
So it's a different animal. 3.5, you had to build your characters up to be these special classes. So like you had to take like a couple levels of fighter and then a couple levels of rogue, and then you could get this prestige class that made your character into what they were, as opposed to 5th edition is a lot simpler, where you just at 3rd edition, or at 3rd level, you just kind of get your expertise area.
So if there's somebody out there thinking about getting into D&D, why and they're hesitant about it, why should or shouldn't they get into it?
So, I mean, I think that D&D is a good icebreaker with a lot of people. You can kind of sculpt yourself into whatever you want to be. So if you decide that, you want to be this big burly fighter and he just knocks down walls and smashes heads together, then you can do that. And if you want to be a wizard and, control dragons and control weather and stuff like that, you can do that. If you want to shape change into animals, I mean, that you can do that. There's pretty much a class for every idea out there that you can play with.
And what are the benefits of of playing D&D? Like, what do you get? Like, what do you get out of it?
Well, first and foremost, you get one-on-one contact with your friends. I mean, it's really a good excuse to hang out with all your buddies. Whether you're, like me and the boys, we play, whether it's your friends from work, if it's friends from, you know, that you haven't seen. I mean, the nice thing is with the newest set of rules, you can actually play online and you don't have to be in person. But of course, I like playing in person because you get that real human contact. You get, you know, that togetherness, and just like every D&D party, like having all those people come together to do one, you know, congruent thing all together is much more interesting than playing a scripted video game or something like that.
So, how is it playing with your kids as opposed to like all the years you played with, just friends or relatives or?
Well, I mean, for me, it's all kind of the same. I mean, obviously, like I have a lot of pride that Logan gets as invested as he does, or Michael's super excited about this book that's coming out, or the way he's really involved in his character, or you know, when Logan's going through different rules and trying to create monsters, stuff like that. Like that's the exciting part. There's some fatherly pride in that. But I mean, pretty much just like anybody. I mean, like I played with my cousin, and he always came up with his own rules, his own bad guys, his own backstories, stuff like that. Um, so it just the fatherly pride would be about the difference.
All right, so obviously we've seen that you've been DMing for this. You have your own campaign on the channel
Right.
as well as Logan, and so I asked him a little bit about like tips and tricks for a new DM, things to avoid, things to like things you wished you knew when you first started DMing that you know now.
Uh, Probably the first tip that I could give to anybody that wants to be a DM is don't be afraid to wing it. Um, there's a lot of times where you just need to sit in the chair and you know, oh, I don't know the spec for this, or I don't know the role for this. Just make it up. There's a general rule of this is so much and this is so much, and you know.
Well, now the funny part is Logan was just when I had talked to Logan, he was talking about all the research you need to do and how much planning and stuff you need to do. And so he gave the opposite answer of you.
Well, that's good. I mean, because like he's a different DM than I am, and so he's a big researcher and stuff like that. I've been doing it for so long, the basic rules don't
apply to you anymore.
Well, they apply.
But I just make crap up.
I say it's a 26, and it's a 26. But like you have an idea, like okay, so like a challenge rating of something, which there is set rules where a 5 is very easy, a 10 is standard, 15 is a little difficult, 20 is really hard, 25 is like near impossible, and of course like 30's completely impossible. Well, if you got like somebody the size of a halfling trying to break down a door, I kind of adjust the challenge rating of it just a little bit, because like size, proportion, stuff like that. If you're a standard, let's say the standard door to break down is a 15.
Mm-hmm.
If it's barred, or if it's like hardened wood or something like that, it's going to be harder, and you have to just be able to make that quick adjustment in your head. Okay, it's not a 15, this is going to be more like an 18 or something like that. And of course, you can't be afraid to change things to make the story go better. So if somebody's stuck, let's say you can't get through the door, you're beating on a door, you're trying to unlock it, you're trying to do this. Eventually, you got to get to the point where, you know, maybe it has to come down a little bit so that your players can move on with the story. So you can't have everything stuck in stone.
Right. So another question I asked Logan was, any tips for DMs, whether they're new or seasoned, shall we say, for dealing with new players?
New players are always an interesting thing. And I'm a big fan of new players because you get to kind of throw them into this world that they've never been in before. So a new player is like fresh clay, you know. If you can literally sit down with them and say, okay, what do you see yourself doing in this campaign? Okay, let's say, just for example, they want to play like a thief, like a rogue type, like a whatever. So then you get a chance to, okay, what do you see in a rogue? Do you see them with like a bow and arrow, or do you see them as more of like a scout? You know, where they're wandering ahead, you know, scouting for an army or scouting to, you know, being out in the wilderness more, or are they like a thief where they just literally break into buildings and steal stuff and stuff like that? You know, what do you see? And then you can mold their character into their vision. You can help them define what they want so that their skills match what they want out of it. And of course, everything that they do is a new experience. So the first time they fight, it's a new experience. The first time they get a chance to cast a spell, it's a new experience. You know, the first time they level up, it's a whole new experience. And you just can, this is the easy way that I do this. This is a step by step. Okay, now, you know, everything's leveled up. You know, the first time they try and fail a swimming check and they almost drown, it's you know, it's a new experience. You know, trying to jump higher than a person can jump. I mean, all these things, and these are all things that have happened. So
patience is the key.
Patience is the key,
and understanding,
right, and listening to them and trying to help them figure out what they want with their character, and making them realize that if you can't do it in real life, you can't really do it in the game. You know, there are obviously people that can jump really far, but they have incredible skill to do that. It's not like, you know, you don't, at 5-year-olds, you don't try to jump from building to building because you'll never make it.
Right. All right. Your favorite BBEG?
My favorite BBEG in all of D&D is Lord Soth. He's a Death Knight. He's from the Dragonlance campaign setting. He is an incredible anti-hero. He was a Knight of Solamnia, had some serious trust issues, even to the point where he had a chance to save the world, and instead of saving the world, went back and confronted his wife and doomed the world to the cataclysm.
Least favorite BEG?
Ooh, least favorite BBEG. That's a tough one.
One that you don't like, that you never use in your own campaign.
Oh, well, my least used enemy is the Rakshasa, and only because they're very specific on how you can get rid of them. They are interesting characters. I like to throw them in as NPCs, like almost dubious NPCs, but I don't really use them as a straight up enemy.
Yeah.
No, because you have to. There's a very specific way to kill them, and which I won't share on here. Look it up if you want to know. And if you don't, if you just want to experience for the first time, good luck.
All right. So, is there anything else you want to tell everybody about D&D? Anything that I missed? Any?
Play the game. That's the first thing I would say. If you haven't ever played, find a group, find somebody to play with. If you're playing online and you have never played with friends in person, play in person. The experience is completely different. I mean, one of the best things about D&D is you can get your friends together, grab a pizza or two, and just sit and play D&D, and you know, off some bugbears and have a good time with it. Everything's in the experience. You have to the journey is the story. So not just fighting the BBG, not just finding the MacGuffin that gets you to the next area. I mean, it's the getting together with friends and having a good time and laughing about jokes, and somebody rolled a natural one and totally screwed up the thing, or getting that critical hit just as everybody's about to total party kill. I mean, that's the stories that you're always going to remember. That would be it. That would be my advice. Just play the game. That's no two ways about it.
So, is there anything our wonderful viewers should know about Todd?
Well, there's a lot.
Let's keep it short. Okay.
All right. So to
Just
keep
like
it short.
You. Oh. Okay.
Right. So to keep it short, I've been playing D&D since early 1990s. Almost said early 1900s. I don't know where that idea came from. I've always been into the stories. I always enjoyed getting into reading the books, getting the new source books, stuff like that. There's so much lore that's out there for D&D. If you need to make a homebrew campaign, make a homebrew campaign. If you want to just jump into a D&D campaign, there's plenty of resources out there. If you want a recommendation from me, I am a huge Dragonlance fan. I have read, I'd say, probably 80% of all the books, and there's a lot of them. And I am also a huge Warhammer fan for the same reasons. I mean, the lore is incredible. The game is incredible. It's another one of those get together with your friends, roll some dice, move some models. I'm a big painter. I enjoy painting miniatures. And I'm a big Star Wars fan. And shocker, because the same reasons. There's so much lore. There's so much going on. There's lore from characters that only had a minute and some time of screen time that goes way back, backstory, families, things like that. I mean, I love the lore. I love the characters. That's my go-to in all this.
Well, if someone wanted to learn more about Warhammer, is there a podcast out there that they could listen to?
So there's the Table Ready Painting podcast. You can find that on either YouTube, which it's video, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or most of the places where you pick up podcasts. It is a bi-weekly podcast, and we try to get people involved in the game and different ways to play.
And who hosts that?
I do.
You host that. Oh,
yes, I'm the host of that. I am also the host, or one of the co-hosts, of Bounty Hunting Across the Galaxy with Todd and Ken.
Are you going to put links in the description below so they can see those? They can get to those?
I think that would be a good idea. I'll
Okay.
have to talk to the producer.
She could be difficult sometimes.
Sometimes. But we like her, so we keep her around.
Yeah.
She works at a good price.
Yeah, right.
So, Bounty Hunting Across the Galaxy is a monthly podcast now. We had a little bit of a rocky start, but we're going to do it every month. We are hoping to get enough subscriptions to it so that we can do it live. And that'll be right around the last Thursday of the month. If not, for now, we are releasing about the first of the month. We're recording on the last, putting out on the first. So check me out there. Not only am I
Don't check you out too much because then I get upset.
Right.
Okay.
But check us out there. Check us out there. And then...
And don't check out Ken too much because then you get upset.
Right?
Okay.
But check us out there. Subscribe if you're a Star Wars fan. We actually go over characters, a lot of Mandalorian lore. We're both official Mandalorian Mercs members. We both have our armor. Ken is constantly creating new armor. I'm stuck at one, but I'm fine with that. For now. We'll see. And then if we get enough subscribers on that, we're going to be going live every month. I'm a big lore. Ken knows a lot of behind the scenes stuff, and it actually works out to be a good combination, I think.
Well, and does Table Ready go live?
Table Ready goes live on Twitch every Thursday. And I need to make this schedule less confusing. But every other week we do the podcast live on Twitch under Nim Pimbly. We're going to work on that and see if I can get that name changed. It was just my gaming streaming name. We also, the odd off weeks, we're either going to be painting or playing video games. So, and that'll be on Twitch under Nim Pimbly. I think it's 2 Y's, 1 I. The link will be there.
Okay. We'll put a link in the description box below.
Yeah, we'll put the link in the description.
All right. Anything else you want to tell our viewers? I'm so sorry.
It's okay. I think that's about it. I mean, my biggest thing is I have a cat. Sorry about that. The cat was not my story.
Look, I have a cat.
The biggest thing in my life is I have a cat.
You're like a kindergartner on Zoom. Look, I have a cat.
Look, a squirrel. So the biggest thing I would say is if you get any chance to do anything, whatever your passion is, if you want to role play, and it doesn't have to be Dungeons and Dragons. If you want to play, there's a million games out there. There's Pathfinder, which is essentially D&D or the different rule set. There's 1-page rules. There's whatever. Find a game that you like and just jump in and have fun with your friends. And, whatever your passion is, just go for it. I mean, life's too short. You got to have fun with it.
You're missing the one thing that both of your kids got right.
Uh-oh.
When I said, is there anything else you want to say?
Oh, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell.
There you go. You got it.
And again, we could work this out so that if we can get enough subscriptions, we could go live on YouTube too.
Yep. So thank you everyone for watching. Thank you everyone for your support. We appreciate each and every one of you more than you know. Thank you for being part of our little channel.
Yeah.
I know you don't really get to see me. I'm just sort of the producer, manager / mom, wife.
She is the motivational speaker behind the whole thing.
I am, yes.
She makes sure that everything works perfectly and gets posted on time and gets
I make all the shorts
down to record and she puts all the links in the descriptions.
Yep.
So she is the back end and we appreciate her more than anything.
So
yeah. So If you are getting to the point where you want to teach your kids to play D&D and you have any questions, please drop us a comment and we'll see if we can help you out with that. And definitely check out the channel, because I mean, I've had an opportunity that I didn't think I would ever have. And we get to teach the kids new games and stuff that I've enjoyed for years. And so please reach out, make a comment. We will get back to you, I promise.
All right.
Right? All right. Thanks everybody for watching.